I'd like to call to order the Trotwood-Madison Board of Education work session Thursday, August 1st, 2019, here in the Trotwood-Madison Board of Education offices to order. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman?
Yes.
Mr. Scarce?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman?
Yes.
And Ms. Moore?
Yes, the meeting has been called to order. Please join us in a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The mission of the Trotwood-Madison City Schools is to graduate all students prepared to excel in a global society with a commitment to lifelong learning by guaranteeing a challenging curriculum facilitated by an innovative and dedicated staff, community participation, and state-of-the-art resources in a stimulating atmosphere. I now need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved. I'll second.
It's been moved and I have a second. Are any questions or changes to the agenda?
I would like to change or remove from the policy review submissions, 8,500. And then the general, policy 8,500, I'm sorry.
Okay. So,
These were submitted for review last week to the staff, and they did make some very valid comments that we need to kind of reconsider with the others going on as scheduled.
okay, so let's look at that. So we're looking at policy 8,500.
The comment was
Yeah.
in regards to a milk substitute,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't think was included in our overview with Neola.
Mm-hmm.
So when that was brought back from the staff comments, we do want to take a look at that and possibly incorporate it.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. The board see that? Okay, and that came from our food service director, all right, which makes all the sense in the world. All right. Other policies in place are acceptable.
Yes.
Okay. I would also like to make a change on the agenda. I'd like to move our executive session, item 9. I'd like it to be item 2. And then all the subsequent numbers will change. Any other changes? Okay. Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Yes, Mrs. Bozeman?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Mr. Scarce?
Yes.
And Ms. Moore?
Yes, the agenda has been adopted. Next item up is item 2, executive session. I need a motion to go into executive session for the purposes authorized, Board Policy 0166 or C121.22 to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Action will be taken. Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Mr. Scarce?
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman?
Yes.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman?
Yes.
And Ms. Moore?
Yes. Motion passes. We will now enter into executive session at 5:34 p.m.
Thank you. Oh, okay.
We stand.
No, come on, just. I mean, I don't know, just keep recording. Yeah.
I think they're gonna be in there for a while. They'll be in there.
Stop recording, Luke. Yeah, go ahead and stop. You ready? Yeah. All right.
So,
Excuse me. If you talk too much, I'll say.
oh, I'm looking, okay.
Computer went down. Okay, let me get my computer up. Call us out of executive session. My computer. Oh, okay.
You got a whole, no, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, man. Okay, I would like to call us out of executive session, and it is 7:25 PM. Okay, we are adding 2 items to the agenda this evening. Item 2A is to accept the resignation of the superintendent, Tyrone Overson. And item 2B is to appoint an acting superintendent. Item 2A, is there a motion to accept the resignation of Mr. Tyrone Overson?
I move that the board accept the resignation of Tyrone Overson as superintendent effective at close of business on July 31st, 2019, and approve the separation agreement entered into today between this board and Tyrone Overson.
Is there a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Scares,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Item 2B, is there a motion to appoint an acting superintendent?
I move that the board appoint Marlon Howard as acting superintendent of Trotwood-Madison City Schools, subject to the agreement on the terms of an acting employment agreement.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Skiris made the motion. Okay. Are there any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Sorry. Who made the,
Mr. Andrews was the second.
okay.
Okay. There are no questions. Will you please call the roll?
Mr. Scares,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Okay, we're going to go on down to our next item. All the numbers have changed, so item 3 would be board report with the board policy updates.
we're talking about.
Okay, and I'm gonna defer that, okay? We all have the policies in front of us, and we've seen these policies before. Okay. Yeah. Technology is great when it works. My computer just went
For
out.
your, for the personnel part.
Ms. Moore.
Yes,
So I did notice that says for information only,
yes.
but we are,
With-
I'm sorry.
These policies are up for action, I believe.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, the 37.2 can be for information only, but policy 1540 is for action.
okay.
And we removed policy 8500 from the agenda after the recommendation from one of the staff members.
Mhm.
So we can look at that
For
further.
review, right? Okay. Can you get back to the original page, Myra? Is it just board docs?
And the policies that are in update 37.2 were went over with myself and, the policy committee and our Neola representative.
Okay. Okay, I am looking at the policy. So, right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take action on 1540. Okay.
And we will be taking action on the bulk of 37.2 at the next.
The next
15th.
meeting.
Yeah,
All right.
15th meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and if I want to go back, I hit here, right? Is that where? Okay. Okay, I need a motion.
So moved. Oh,
A second.
It's been properly moved, and we have a second. Are there any questions regarding the policies? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Scares?
yes.
Mrs. Peter Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman?
Yes.
And Ms. Moore?
Yes, motion passes. Next up, treasurer's report.
Okay, I have two items for information. One is the approval of the meeting minutes from July 11th, 2019, July 18th, 2019.
Are you sure? Go right ahead.
July 22nd, 2019, July 23rd, 2019, and July 25th, 2019. The next one is purchase order certification of then and now. This was for vendor Rumpke, and the invoice date was dated June 25th. This particular one kind of fell through the cracks in a sense that the purchase order was closed before we got the invoice. And so because of that, because it's over $3,000, we had to bring it to the board for your approval. So that's for information only. And that is all I have this evening.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay. Next up, we're going to have the superintendent's report. Student handbooks.
Superintendent's item A, student handbooks. I am unaware of any information in regards to those. Was there supposed to be a presentation or were they?
Just an update.
Okay.
We can get our update.
Okay,
At another.
okay. And once I find out with regards to what the update is, I can let the board know.
Mhm. And actually, on the handbooks, and I'm looking, I just opened the item, and you guys, if you open it, this is an item for action because school is getting ready to start. And if I recall, Ms. Tidd sent these to each and every one of us for review. And so these are something that need to be printed like yesterday. So if we could please, let's take a look at each item. There is the ELC handbook.
She actually has one copy.
Okay.
She has one copy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
If we have the principal, we don't
Yeah.
have one, she can address hers. I looked at the high school, I didn't see anything,
Okay.
so I don't know if there were any changes.
Yes. The handbooks that we have in front of us are for the ELC, school year 1920, Madison Park Handbook, Westbrook Village Handbook, middle school, and the high school handbook.
And the plan was for them to be electronic for families with a notice going home to all parents on how to access.
Okay. Would you like to, Ms. Minor, would you like to give us an overview on each handbook along the lines of the notice, the electronic? Is there anything else that the board needs to be aware of, please?
Just that they were comprehensive handbooks. We have applied a lot of the procedures. So as families have children in other buildings, a lot of similar things are done. And there'll be a lot of communication out there so the families know that they're electronic with documents going home for parents to sign and request.
Okay. Thank you. So I need a motion to accept Superintendent Item A, student handbooks as presented.
I'll move.
I'll second.
It's been moved and we have a second. Are there any questions? Being none? Okay,
Just a
sorry.
comment,
Mhm.
not a question. I do like the way that, where it talks to the infractions of the students, and it's really clearly lined out. It's column, so you don't have to read through a whole paragraph if you're kind of lazy like me and you just visual. Were there any other major changes we put in any of them that you're aware
I
of?
think, on the high school one in particular, he has some nice, I guess it's like a beliefs and pledges.
I saw those.
Which is different,
Mhm.
that he updated right away, Mr. Gray did, so that's something that was shared with all other schools. Where they're focusing on attributes and the whole child and what type of graduate, what are the characteristics of a successful
Yeah.
graduate, so it supports it.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Yes. Mrs. Judah Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Scares,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
No, that's for you.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Next item up, acceptance of donations as presented, and it's for information only. And the superintendent's report.
Right, Superintendent's item B, thank you, Madam President. I have
Uh-huh.
two letters for donation, one from Burper Sly and another from Madison Park, Miss Rizzo Sterner. Those are in your packet as presented.
Okay. Wonderful. Any questions? Next item, approval of JROTC student activity, purpose statement, and budget. And this is information only.
Correct, in your packet, Superintendent item C, you will see the itemized budget for the junior ROTC submitted by Lieutenant Colonel Graves and Sergeant Newsom, signed off by Mr. McCray.
Discussion?
You know, they raised a lot of money, so the band need to partner with them.
And everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I see a line item, $39,000, and we're writing checks for the band.
And what they're gonna be looking at is the JRTC will, because they have the concessions,
Mm-hmm.
they will then be doing a percentage back to the school. So they've talked through that. So,
That's wonderful.
Wow.
Okay. Next item, and this is up for action. Resolution to approve the employee requests for children to attend Trotwood-Madison City Schools for the school year 2019-2020 per Board of Education Policy 5111.
Correct. Item D, there is a letter in there from staff member with a request for enrollment of her child into the district.
And there was also an additional one that was.
Okay, there's two. I do have two, I'm sorry. Okay. The second one is a hand carry one in today?
Yeah, so we
Okay,
just
an
added
additional
it,
one.
yes.
Okay.
And they're both employee requests for children to attend Trotwood-Madison City Schools.
Yes.
I need a motion for Superintendent Item D, resolution to approve employee requests for children to attend Trotwood-Madison City Schools for school year 2019-2020 per Board of Education Policy 5111.
I move.
Second.
It's been moved and we have a second. Any questions?
Was the second one?
Mr. Andrews.
Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Yes, Mrs. Judah Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mr. Scarce.
Yes.
And Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Next item, item E, it's a resolution to approve updated 2019-2020 non-bargaining salary schedules. Action is requested.
I believe there are several schedules that have been updated by Ms. Martin. I'm sure you guys have had some prior discussion about this.
Yeah.
So Ms. Martin has asked that action be taken on these.
I need a motion to accept Superintendent Item E as presented.
So move.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Will it be retroactive? Ms. Allen?
I would imagine it would,
Okay.
Can you get,
when you say, yeah, so let me not say.
for 2019, yeah, well, 2019, 2020 school year. That's what the motion says.
For FY '20.
Yeah, FY 19 and FY 20, that's what it says. This is the,
So it would be FY '20, we would look at if we paid them on one other, yes. So
Okay.
it will be retroactive for FY '20. Is that what you're saying?
okay. Any other questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Mr. Scarce,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mrs. Judah Freeman,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Next item F, resolution to approve agreement with Cumberland Therapy Services and action is requested.
Superintendent's item F, I have a contract agreement with Cumberland for a speech and language pathologist. The rate is listed from my brief conversation with Ms. Martin before she had to leave abruptly. This is a standing contract that we have when we contract with speech and language pathologists. I believe we posted, the district had posted for that and was unable to fill the position. So this is our route in order to fulfill speech and language pathologist requirements.
I need a motion to accept item F as presented.
I move. I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Their office is out of Colorado, but I imagine they have someone that they subcontract with the
Local?
area.
Yeah, and again, it was posted. Yeah, I do believe we had those
She posted.
conversations. It was posted and we were not able to fill.
Right, and I got that. I just didn't.
No, it was
Yeah.
able to. Okay. Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Mrs. Judah Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mr. Scarce,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Next item is the personnel agenda.
Superintendent's item G is the personnel agenda.
Yeah.
I do not believe this is for action. I believe it's for review. No.
It should be for action.
It should be for action?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Should be for action, right, yeah,
Yes.
especially at this time.
Yeah.
Mrs. Martin submitted this. And I can try to answer any questions that you may have, but
Okay.
I don't know if you guys are.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. We know that, this time of the year, when personnel items come up, and because we're trying to make sure that we're fully staffed, we've been taking action to fill these positions. And also, for the resignations that have happened.
Correct. These administrative contracts, and updated. Oh, those are updated. Okay.
We'll have a discussion. About this. Okay, we'll just have a special meeting, all right? Okay. Okay, thank you. I need a motion.
So move.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Scares,
Yes.
Mrs. Judah Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Treasurer's comments?
Yes. I did have, in front of you, each one of you have a folder, and that is just a renewal for FY20 for the credit card policies, and also if there were any receipts that were missing. Please look at that, and Kim put in there the particular receipts that you might be missing. So if you could just peruse that and get back to us. I think she put a date on there.
She did.
If we find these, then we don't have to reimburse, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to mention is I got a handout from OSBA, and we have to designate, you guys have to designate an appointment for the business meeting for OSBA. So it's not, you have to go approve or anything, you just have to
Make an appointment.
make an appointment.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be in until September 10th, so I didn't know if you wanted to do it now or wait later.
We can wait. We'll have some discussion. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay. Discussion items, student enrollment.
I do have some information on student enrollment that was given to me. Basically, what I can review is just the amount or total number of withdrawals and new registrations within the district. It's summed up in a very practical format. If there was some other information that was requested, I can try to find that as well. But to date, Trotwood-Madison High School has 14 student withdrawals, 8 new open enrollments, 5 current open enrollments, and 25 new in-district enrollments, 25 new enrollments to the district. So that is significantly up. Middle school has 6 withdrawals, 24 new open enrollments, and 16 new in-district enrollments. Westbrook Village has 7 regular or in-district enrollments and 7 withdrawals. Madison Park has 9 withdrawals and 9 new open enrollments. And the ELC has 8 withdrawals, 4 new open enrollments, and currently we have 100, and I think the number has gone up to 135 new in-district kindergarten enrollments. So our kindergarten numbers are sitting right about 135, and they're expecting that number to grow over the next couple of days. So this information was kind of forwarded to me to share with the board this evening. I can try to answer any questions that you have with regard to that. But basically, it appears that we are increasing our enrollment, especially at the high school and middle school.
I believe the board has that in their email as well. Thank you.
Yeah,
District staffing.
okay. I don't have any information with regards to different staff, to district staffing. I do know that we would like to have some discussion, I don't know if it's today or when, about the open position of the middle school principal. We've interviewed a few candidates, and I would like to have some discussion with the board about that. Again, Ms. Martin had to leave abruptly.
Yeah.
We were both gonna kind of allude to that, so
We'll
I'll leave
make-
that to your pleasure.
Okay,
All right.
we'll make sure that happens. Tornado relief efforts?
I asked Ms. Jordan Isaacs to come up and kind of give us an overview of some of the things that are going on.
Good evening, Madam
Good evening.
President.
Good evening.
Howard, Ms. Allen.
Speak up.
I forwarded all information, updates to Mr. Overson. Subsequently, Madam President, I can forward that information.
We have it, and I've already forwarded it to the board.
So
Okay.
we do have a plan
Yeah.
for the donations that have come in. I do want to highlight that some of the
I'm sorry,
classes,
Ms. Can you speak up a little bit more, because they have to do the minutes?
The mic it may not be on.
Yeah,
Yeah, push the bottom.
yeah,
Is it?
because Kim's gonna be like, oh, I cannot hear any of this.
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, there you go.
It's on.
Uh-huh.
As I was stating, we do have plans for the donations relief as a part of the annual back to school bash. I did forward the information on, and you said that you shared it with the board members. And so I will say that we've had tons of support coming in. Matter of fact, the class of 1965, 71, and 75 have challenged themselves to provide donations relief to our staff, to our district. I can tell you that the August 3rd event will not be the last event. It seems that we have secured uniforms, backpacks, and other supplies for the identified 226 students that have been infected and or displaced. We have support through, corporate support rather, with JCPenney's and one of the local organizations. I did meet with Macy's this morning. They have also pledged some corporate support. Ms. Allen and I are working through the details of that, as well as the local law. So we do know that Crayons to Classroom plans to do a big presentation later in the month of August. We are doing what we can to put a plan in place to sustain our uniform effort as well as support for those families. Because what we're finding is even while we're communicating with families is right now, we're not getting a lot of feedback. We realize that families are relocated to other communities. But as that information comes in, we're definitely being very diligent in logging that information so that we can continue the rounds of support.
Wonderful.
Is there a day they pick up the uniforms, or when do the parents get to receive the uniforms?
The families that we have identified are open to coming into the back to school bash middle school. And we've designed the area with an entrance and exit that can be private. Those
Okay.
families can pick up their 3 uniforms Saturday.
Okay.
We will be planning subsequent dates thereafter. As I stated, I know that Crayons to Classroom and those partners will also do a presentation, and the building administrators and I are working with Crayons to Classroom, Laura, whose last name escapes me right now, trying to identify a date where we can have that, all of the partners. I will front load you and say that I will be making a recommendation to the superintendent about
That would be you.
forward in terms of a recognition. Typically, we do have our volunteer recognition, the second board meeting in June or July. This is going to be huge. I've had at least 195 phone calls since July 15th, all about donations and how they can support Grand Canyon University. They have a check waiting for us, so it's huge, and it's not going to be something that you all are going to be prepared to read names of individuals for the
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
that's good.
You want to talk about your meeting a little bit that you had today too?
Yes, thank you. all of the affected districts, Vandalia, Butler, Milton Union, Dayton Public Schools, Northridge was invited. We had a follow-up meeting from our July 18th meeting regarding transportation and how do we make sure that we are using the provisions of McKinney-Vento to ensure that our families are connected to their school of origin, their district of origin. I can tell you that there are lots of questions and lots of uncertainty, but one thing that we have settled on is that those families have the provisions of McKinney-Vento. We're working through the pieces of how the districts may share costs for transportation, but I can tell you that every district at the table has tons of questions, just like we do, and so we're working through those processes. The media was present. Thank you, Mr. Howard, for interacting with them as we connected.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Opening day. Events, Mr. Howard?
Well, I guess myself and some other folks are gonna have to kind of sit down and get some things together. And then, I'm sure, share with the board.
We'll be in touch,
Yeah, for you
okay?
guys review.
Yeah.
We'll definitely work on that.
That looks like.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Howard, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I guess, I'm here to help. I really don't have much else to say. I look forward to the opportunity to get this big ship running, and those folks in the audience, they know it's going to be a team effort until we settle on common ground. But I'm definitely just ready to get the school year started. So I'll do what I can to help. So I'm here.
Thank you. Board comments, Mr. Andrews.
I guess I should say welcome, board, so to speak. And you do have our full support, and very pleased that you stepped in at this time to assist, and you have our full confidence.
Mr. Scarce?
Again, thank you to Mr. Howard and for assisting in this regard. I would also like to make reference to another community event going on. On August 10th, our church is sponsoring our third annual bonfire block party. We'll be giving away 4 Chromebooks, 20 $50 Lowe's and Home Depot cards, over 300 uniform shirts, and also $10 and over $310 Walmart gift cards to families that need to buy bottoms or socks or anything additional. We are asking people to register to make that available to them so we can kind of keep track of how many people or how many items we're actually giving out. So we wanted to get that out in the public. You can register on our website, which is gatewaycathedral.org, or you can register on site. It's from 6 to 10, August the 10th, live music, game trucks, bounce houses. It's a good time and an opportunity for people to kind of take a deep breath and, relax a little bit. But thank you again, Mr. Howard.
Ms. Bozeman?
I guess I have the same sentiments. Thank you for stepping in, Mr. Howard, and I'm looking forward to a great year.
And Ms. Jeter Freeman?
So I'll echo what the other board, it's a consensus. We appreciate you stepping in, and I want to thank our principals going into the year and all of our staff. And we're all ready, I think, to roll up our sleeves, to be team and to do whatever it is. And the good thing is, I think that our principals, I always say to the board, they're the workhorses. They're the ones that drive that student achievement at the end, but by their leadership with the staff and food service and operations and everybody else. So I think we got this, and we're going to do good.
And again, I echo my counterparts. Thank you, Mr. Howard, for stepping up and serving in this capacity. I want to give a little background, if I could. I want to make a statement along the lines of the superintendent's resignation. And Mr. Overson submitted his resignation as superintendent of the Trotwood-Madison City School District effective at close of business yesterday. And the Board of Education has accepted that resignation, of course. Mr. Overson came to Trotwood in April of 2018 when our school district was in a very difficult time with a threatened state takeover. That didn't happen with a lot of work and by everybody in the school community. And now it's time to look long-term for someone to lead the district forward. The board has appointed Mr. Marlon Howard as our acting superintendent while the board searches for a superintendent to take over for the long term. We are happy that you're willing to serve in this capacity and want to make sure that we give you all the support and let you know that you have our full cooperation as school starts and we continue to deal with many difficult issues, not the least of which is the aftermath of the tornado on Memorial Day weekend. I know that if we all work together, we can make a difference for the young people here in Trotwood-Madison City School District and in our community. So welcome, Mr. Howard.
Right.
And we are happy to have you. And staff, thank you. Thank you for what you do. We know that school will start in 11 days. Yes, less than 2 weeks. However, we know that with the staff that we have, the teachers, the administrators, we're going to be ready to rock and roll. We are excited about looking forward into the future. We're excited about really and truly the enthusiasm in Trotwood. Our families are enthusiastic. We have people that are coming to the district, the open enrollments, and we're excited about greeting them the first day of school. We have a lot of initiatives on the table. We have the health center. We have the back to school bash. And by the way, thank you, Mr. Howard and Ms. Jordan, Isaac, for setting up the event last week. I think it was on Thursday or Friday, where Channel 45 and 22 was out there with Bill's Donuts and classroom, the crayons to classroom, and that's Laura Repak. Yes, and it was from 7A to 7P. So I just want to thank you guys, and I want to thank all the staff that participated as well, and all the folks that came out to support our school community. So again, we've got a lot of great things to look forward to, and we've got opening day on next Friday. So we're looking forward to getting in and getting started and going forward. So thank you all. Thank you for being here with us this evening. I now need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second.
I've got a motion and I've got a second. Are there any questions about adjournment? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Mr. Secretary.
Yes.
Mrs. Judith Freeman.
Yes.
Mr. Andrews.
Yes.
Mrs. Boardman.
Yes.
And Ms. Moore.
Yes. Motion passes. Meeting adjourned.
You know,